Pranam Manan.
Namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Pranams.
Yes, okay. Okay, come. So we'll start with your prayer. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Aviravirmaidhi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Let we be protected, let we be nourished. Let we strive with energy and vigor. Let our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment and not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not to death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om peace, peace, peace. I bow to Govinda, whose nature is bliss supreme, who is the Sadguru, who can be known only from the import of all Vedanta, and who is beyond the reach of speech and mind. So our goal is to go beyond speech and mind. Go beyond speech and mind. Is it totally unapproachable? No, because it is the basis of speech and mind. It is journey within. It is not journey outside. That is why we are to recognize what is real, what is not real, what is permanent, what is temporary. If we understand what is real and what is permanent, then only we realize him. Otherwise, we'll be engaged in something which is not permanent, in something which is temporary. All these temporary things are also in him, in that permanent entity. Therefore, if we can hold of that which is permanent, we don't lose anything. Then everything has its meaning. But if we fail to recognize that which is permanent and we are trying to grab what is temporary, we can never have that. So this is the difference. That is why we need to have power of discrimination. Then only we recognize what is that permanent entity which we should hold. Whatever is impermanent, though it may be very dear to us, but that will not lead us to the goal. We want security. We want stability, peace, that we cannot gain by holding something which is temporary. We only can gain peace, stability, security, and peace of mind when we have this permanent entity and we attain it. So that is why we are studying Vivekachudamani. Now, before we go to the text, we'll read from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. David?
I'm reading from God in Everything.
Your sound, you can come closer.
Oh, it's can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? I'm right next to the microphone.
No, you have some problem. Your
I can hear you,
mic is.
David, I can hear you.
Oh,
Oh,
can you hear me okay, or just
okay? Yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
So,
you can hear me okay now?
yes.
I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Okay. The combination of heart and head is what we want. I do not mean that a man should compromise his heart for his brain or vice versa. But let everyone have an infinite amount of heart and feeling, and at the same time an infinite amount of reason. Is there any limit to what we want in this world? Is not the world infinite? There is room for an infinite amount of feeling, and so also for an infinite amount of culture and reason. Let them come together without limit. Let them be running together, as it were, in parallel lines with each other. Most of the religions understand the fact, but the error into which they all seem to fall is the same. They are carried away by the heart, the feelings. There is evil in the world. Give up the world. That is the great teaching, and the only teaching, no doubt. Give up the world. There cannot be two opinions that to understand the truth, every one of us has to give up error. There cannot be two opinions that every one of us, in order to have good, must give up evil. There cannot be two opinions that every one of us, to have life, must give up what is death. And yet, what remains to us if this theory involves giving up the life of the senses, the life as we know it? And what else do we mean by life? If we give this up, what remains?
Okay. One thing, the giving up of the world means what? If you hold this temporary thing, you cannot gain anything. Therefore, giving up the world means you are to hold fast the center, the reality. that never cease to exist, that which is permanent. When you hold that, then you can find this temporary world also has a meaning. Then this world transforms itself into that which is the reality. That means what? There is only one. As Sri Ramakrishna said, there may be various dolls, but all are made up of sugar. Similarly, when you find that reality, this world will not appear as it is. It will transform into that reality. Though you will look at this temporary world, but it will all the time flash that reality in and through everything. It is the same reality which will be exhibited. Pratibodh viditam matam amritatvam. Pratibodh means bodham, bodham, pratibodham. I'm speaking, I'm thinking. All these are based on my reality. If I can hold my reality, then this also has some meaning. But only speech has no basis. When we have realized that soul, then everything is manifestation of same reality. That means only one thing. When we see the light, then all light is emanating from the source. When we are conscious being, when we realize I am conscious, everything is existing in my consciousness. So though it is coming and going, it is temporary, but it is on that reality. So reality is being manifested all the time. So naturally, giving up the world is gone. Giving up the world. Yes.
We shall understand this better when, later on, we come to the more philosophical portions of the Vedanta. But for the present, I beg to state that in Vedanta alone we find a rational solution of the problem. Here I can only lay before you what the Vedanta seeks to teach, and that is the deification of the world. The Vedanta does not in reality denounce the world. The ideal of renunciation nowhere attains such a height as in the teachings of the Vedanta. But at the same time, dry suicidal advice is not intended. It really means a deification of the world, giving up the world as we think of it, as we know it, as it appears to us, and to know what it really is. Deify it. It is God alone. We read at the commencement of one of the oldest of the Upanishads, whatever exists in this universe is to be covered with the Lord.
Yeah. Ishavasya idagam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam. So what we have to see, how to deify. First, we have to find the reality within. On that reality, all whatever is happening, so it is reflection of that reality. First, we have to find the sun. Then we can find all light emanates from that sun, and therefore everything is lighted. First, we have to find the consciousness. When I have found my consciousness, I am conscious, but we are not aware of it. Being aware is itself is the thing. A king forgot that he is a king. But when somebody reminded and he realized that he is king, immediately power came. Power does not come one by one, gradually. When lamb was reminded by a lion that you are a lion, So he was lion all the time. It was lion all the time. So as soon as he were aware, it was aware that it's a lion, immediately that power came. So it is only one has to remind. So everything then transforms itself. It may look that various things of the world, but actually it is manifestation of same reality. So this has difference. When one is in ignorance, then he thinks that everything is there, but actually these are temporary. And a person who realizes, he realizes that the source of everything is that reality which is permanent. Therefore, whatever is shining on it, it's only its manifestation. That means there is only one who is manifesting in so many forms. So deification here means first we have to realize the divine, then we can see manifestation in everything. Yes. Go ahead.
We have to cover everything with the Lord himself, not by a false sort of optimism, not by blinding our eyes to the evil, but by really seeing God in everything. Thus, we have to give up the world. And when the world is given up, what remains? God.
Yes.
What is meant? You can have your wife. It does not mean that you are to abandon her, but you are to see God in the wife. Give up your children. What does that mean? To turn them out of doors, as some humans brutes do in every country? Certainly not. That is diabolism. It is not religion. But see God in your children. So in everything. In life and in death. In happiness and in misery. The Lord is equally present. The whole world is full of the Lord. Open your eyes and see him. That is what Vedanta teaches. Give up the world which you have conjectured, because your conjecture was based upon a very partial experience, upon very poor reasoning, and upon your own weakness. Give it up. The world we have been thinking of so long, the world to which we have been clinging so long, is a false world of our own creation. Give that up. Open your eyes and see that as such it never existed. It was a dream. Maya. What existed was the Lord himself. It is he who is in the child, in the wife, and in the husband. It is he who is in the good and in the bad. He is in the sin and in the sinner. He is in life and in death.
So deification here means, say, suppose one can say that I see everybody, everyone so I see one may claim close that here. So one may claim that I see God in everything, everywhere. Just now, see this disturbance. Any disturbance should not disturb you. If you can see God in everything, that means that should not disturb you. You should not hate. You should not find faults. If you can find faults, if you don't find faults, you see God in him or her, then that is reality. Otherwise, it is only in words. So there is a difference between a realized soul and a soul who's trying to see that and also an ignorant person. So three positions are there. One is ignorant. This world is conjecture for him. This world for him is real, and he fails to find that reality. The second person has intellectually understood. So he is trying to find that reality in all our experiences. He might falter sometimes, but a realized soul is he who sees in all things, in all beings, it's the same reality. So this is the difference. A person may claim that I see God in everything and everywhere, but when the test comes, then he fails. So that means he has not realized. But a realized person, he really sees it's all divine. There are no two. There is no world left for him anymore. So that is the reality. So giving up the world means giving up the conjecture of this world. And the behavior pattern is completely changed in that person. So Ramakrishna, even somebody came and kicked, and he did not say anything. And similar thing happened. A tiger caught a Mahatma, and he was uttering that Aham Brahmasmi. Though tiger was taking him, that Aham Brahmasmi he was uttering, because he realized that all the things are play. The reality is I am Brahman. Yes. Go ahead.
A tremendous assertion indeed. Yet that is the theme which Vedanta wants to demonstrate, to teach, and to preach. This is just the opening theme. Thus we avoid the dangers of life and its evils. Do not desire anything. What makes us miserable? The cause of all miseries from which we suffer is desire. You desire something and the desire is not fulfilled. The result is distress. If there is no desire, there is no suffering. But here too, there is the danger of my being misunderstood. So it is necessary to explain what I mean by giving up desire and becoming free from all misery. The walls have no desire and they never suffer. True, but they never evolve. This chair has no desire. It never suffers, but it is always a chair. There is a glory in happiness. There is a glory in suffering. If I may dare to say so, there is utility in evil too. The great lesson in misery we all know. There are hundreds of things we have done in our lives which we wish we had never done, but which, at the same time, have been great teachers. As for me, I'm glad I have done something good and many things bad. Glad I have done something right, and glad I've committed many errors, because every one of them has been a great lesson. I, as I am now, am the resultant of all I have done, all I have thought. Every action and thought have had their effect, and these effects are the sum total of my progress.
So giving up desire does not mean to become a stone. Rather, giving up desire means that there is nothing left to desire. Whatever is to be achieved, that I have achieved. Therefore, nothing to desire. When there is full, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyat, then what to desire? When everything is achievable by me, what to desire? The other way, a devotee's point of view. A devotee knows that everything is fulfilled by God or by Mother or by divine. Therefore, he does not seek. He does not desire. Things come. And whatever comes, he is happy with it. So this is not to desire. Isha avasyamidagam sarvam. when everything is covered with God, then it is God who is there. When you are desiring, that means you are trying to fulfill your incompleteness. So that is to be shunned. So desire to be removed. Tasya kamaya shariram anusanjare. So when one finds that he is complete and full, then what is to be desired? Yes.
We all understand that desires are wrong. But what is meant by giving up desires? How could life go on? It would be the same suicidal advice, killing the desire and the man too. The solution is this: not that you should not have property, not that you should not have things which are necessary and things which are even luxuries. Have all that you want and more. Only know the truth and realize it. Wealth does not belong to anybody. Have no idea of proprietorship, possessorship. You are nobody, nor am I, nor anyone else. All belongs to the Lord. Because the opening verse told us to put the Lord in everything. God is in the wealth that you enjoy. He is in the desire that rises in your mind. He is in the things you buy to satisfy your desire. He is in your beautiful attire, in your beautiful ornaments. This is the line of thought. All will be metamorphosed as soon as you begin to see things in that light. If you put God in your every movement, in your every conversation, in your form, in everything, the whole scene changes, and the world, instead of appearing as one of woe and misery, will become a heaven.
Yeah, that's the way that we are to pursue like this. But Sri Ramakrishna would come, like as a devotee said, now he's saying, do this, do that also. But one day he'll come and sting. Then Sri Ramakrishna defends him. No, uni kamraben. Bole, na kamrabo keno. So even physical renunciation is also important. One may say that I have renounced, but until or unless it is demonstrated physically, how one justifies oneself. But one thing can be done. See, we have to eat. So what is to be done? While eating, you can offer that to God. And when you are offering, because you have to offer the best to God. Therefore, whatever you are eating, you must eat the best. That means what? You are offering the best, and when offering, whether it is good or bad, that also you can taste, but not as enjoyment, but as offering. This way you can even enjoy better. See, generally what happens, people just gobble, eat, and they're talking tall, this way, that way, so many things they talk. But if you try and offer that while eating, then you can see, you can taste better, even enjoy better. So that means what? Giving up trash, giving up of what is not what is temporary, that is giving up what is temporary. But when you are united with it, yajñarthat kriyate anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So whatever is in the spirit of offering, other than that, everything binds. Therefore, one should offer everything to God. Yajñarthat kriyate anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So that is why whatever we do, that should be done in the spirit of offering. So we have completed, I'm sorry, so we have taken a bit longer time. Let us go to the text. Today we cannot display the text. But before that, let me read from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That's very nice. The sound of Om is Brahman. The rishis and sages practiced. Now it's why I have taken this one, because it is the realized soul, how they behave. So what will you gain? Some sages ask, by merely hearing this sound. You hear the roar of the ocean from a distance. By following the roar, you can reach the ocean. As long as there is the road, there must also be the ocean. By following the trail of Om, you attain Brahman, of whom the word is a symbol. The Brahman has been described by the Vedas as the ultimate goal, but such vision is not possible as long as you are conscious of your ego. So, finally, giving up this world, giving up the desire is equal to giving up the ego. A man realizes Brahman only when he feels neither I nor you, neither one nor many. So what will happen to our world, our families? Think that it is God's family. That way we can transform our families into God's family. Think of the sun and of 10 jars. Anyway, I skip something. He who has merely heard of milk is ignorant. He who has seen milk has knowledge. But he who has drunk milk and been strengthened by it has attained Vijnana. There is a difference between a sadhu endowed with jnana and one endowed with Vijnana. The jnani sadhu has a certain way of sitting. When he is in samadhi, he becomes unconscious of the outer world and appears inert. He sees everything to be full of Brahman consciousness. Therefore, he behaves like a ghoul. He behaves like a ghoul. He is not conscious of the holy and the unholy. He does not observe any formal purity. To him, everything to Brahman. Everything is Brahman. He is not aware of filth as such. Even rice and other cooked food, after a few days, become like filth. Again, he is like a madman. People notice his ways and actions and think of him as insane. Or sometimes he's like a child. No bondage, no shame, no hatred, no hesitation, or the like. So these are the signs and symptoms of realized soul. One reaches this state of mind after having the vision of God. When a boat passes by a magnetic hill, its screws and nails become loose and drop out. Lust, anger, and the other passions cannot exist after the vision of God. Once a thunderbolt struck the Kali temple. I noticed that it flattened the points of the screws. So these are the signs and symptoms of realized soul. So if a person claims that he also looks this world as God, he has deified. One has to be careful about his behavior pattern, how he behaves in daily life. So We'll read from our text. So this is the realized soul. Now we'll relate with this. We go to verse number 553. Laksha lakshya gatim tyaktva yastishtet kevalatmana. Shiva eva swayam shakshat ayam brahma vit uttamaha. The translation is, he who, giving up all considerations of the fitness or otherwise of objects of meditation, lives as the absolute Atman, is verily Shiva himself. তুমি এক জায়গায় বসো, একটা জায়গায় বসো। He who, giving up all considerations of fitness or otherwise of objects of meditation, lives as the absolute Atman, is verily Shiva himself. So Lakshya means whatever we aim for. Lakshya, Lakshya. So after attaining, there is no need of having another aim. And for him, nothing is there to not to find. So he is not interested in fixing a goal or not a goal. Laksha lakshya gatim tyaktva yastishthit kevala atmana. And he remains as the self. Shiva eva swayam shakshat. He is Shiva. Shiva eva swayam shakshat. Shakshat means is verily Shiva. Brahmavit uttama. Such is Brahmavit. So this we can see in the example of Sri Ramakrishna. So he, after attaining, he has no further to attain. But of course, he remained in this world for the teachings of, to impart teachings to this world. And say Buddha, after attaining nirvana, he remained in this world to preach nirvana to others, to go beyond all the suffering. Now we go to the next. Jivan neva sada muktaha kritartho brahmavit uttama. Brahmavidat vittamaha. Upadhi nashat brahmaiva san. Brahmapeti nirdayam. Through the destruction of limitations. What is the limitation? Conceived understanding. Like the lion thought that it was a lamb. So this conjecture that he was a lamb, but in reality he was a lion. It was a lion. So this is called adjunct. Destruction of limitations. The perfect knower of Brahman is merged in the one Brahman. So that means he is Brahman itself, himself, and he merges in Brahman. Brahmavit, Brahmaiva bhavati. So so there is a akamaya mano yu akamaha nishkama aptakama. So the person who he leaves desires, what happens to him? He is no more desiring anything. So akama means not desiring anything. Whatever comes, he accepts. And nishkama is no desire. Aptakama, he's achieved all kamas, all desires. Atma kama, his only point is he's finding the self in everything. So if he desires only the self. Sri Ramakrishna, when he desires only mother. Mother, I want to enjoy, I want to talk to devotees. So apta kama and atma kama. Natasya prana utkramanti. Such a person, he does not transmigrate. What happens to him? Brahmaiva san brahmapeti. And he is Brahman and he attains Brahman. Like that lamb, the lion lamb attains lioness. It is lion, but it forgot that it is a lion and it attains lioness. So Brahmaiva san, being a Brahman, he attains Brahman. So Jivan neva sada muktaha kritartho brahma vittamam. Upadhi nashat brahmaiva san brahma apyeti nirdayam. Through the destruction of limitations, the perfect knower of Brahman is merged in the one Brahman. That means what? Like water, pure water merges in water and becomes water. The water that rivers bring to the ocean becomes ocean. Water in reality also ocean. Ocean is full of water. Therefore, Brahma alone is real and it becomes that reality. So, through the destruction of limitations, the perfect knower of Brahman is merged in the one Brahman without a second, which he had been all along, becomes ever free, even while living, and attains the goal of his life. So it's a person like we, when one is trying hard, and then what happens? By the grace of God, by the grace of gurus, and by his self-effort, one day he can remove his limiting adjunct, and he becomes one. Like river leaves its banks, the water in the river leaves the banks and merges in the ocean. Brahmaiva apnoti. So akamayamana yu akamaha, nishkamaha, aptakamaha, atmakamaha, natasya prana utkramanti, brahmaiva san brahmapyati. Here itself he becomes Brahman. As Ramakrishna, here itself he became Brahman. So it is his Brahman. So now the next example is given. Shailisho Vesha Sadbhavat Bhava Bhavayoscha Yatha Puman Tathaiva Brahmavit Shreshtaha Sada Brahmaiva Naparaha. As an actor, when he puts on the dress of his role, or when he does not, that means when he removes his dress, is always a man. So the perfect knower of Brahman is always Brahman and nothing else. So we are also Brahman, only we behave thinking that we are not Brahman. But at the dawn of knowledge, this identity will go, that I am not Brahman. This false identity will go and real identity will come, that I am Brahman. Brahman means I am the reality. I am the permanent entity that exists. So this is, it is all the time there. Even now it is there. But we are so overpowered with our samskaras that 1,000 times we hear, but we are not convinced that we are Brahman. And then the behavior pattern also is like ignorant. And when a person realizes that I am Brahman, so his pattern will change totally. So this is the example, like an actor, when he has put, or even lots of people they like Vidushak. Vidushak means it's a funny character. When they become like that, but inside it is the same person. When he removes the dress or puts on the dress, is the same person. So we have also this adjunct, but within us, we are the same all the time. Yatra kwapi vishirnam sat paranam iva taror bapuhu patatat brahmibhutasya yatehe prageva tachit tachit tachittagnina dagdham. Oh, chidagnina dagdham. Let the body of the sannyasin who has realized his identity with Brahman wither and fall anywhere like the leaf of a tree. It is the little consequence to him, for it has already been burnt by the fire of knowledge. That means this body, he does not bother wherever it falls. Like a leaf that falls off from the tree is not bothered whether it falls in a ditch or in a good place. Tree is not bothered where its leaf fall. Similarly, the knower of Brahman is not bothered wherever his external body drops off, whether in Varanasi or in a ditch or in a marketplace, he does not bother about it, because he's already burnt his identity, his false identity. He has already burnt by what? By fire. By fire of knowledge, he has burnt his false identity. Therefore, he is no more bothered about his body, whether it falls in a good place or in a bad place. So, yatra kwapi vishirnam sat paranam iva taror vapus patata. Let the body of the sannyasin who has realized his identity with Brahman wither and fall anywhere like the leaf of a tree, because it's been burnt by the fire of knowledge. So because he has already burnt by the fire of knowledge, he is no more identified with body. Therefore, it does not matter for him whether body falls in Varanasi or in any place that is not pious. Because it's Sri Ramakrishna, now we have seen that Sri Ramakrishna said that he is not even mindful of holy or unholy. He sometimes behaves like Gaul, sometimes like a child, like immature. We all can find, we find all these signs and symptoms in Sri Ramakrishna and also in other realized souls. So we go to the next. Tadatmani Brahmani Tishthato Munehi Purna Advyananda Mayatmana Sada Nadesha Kala Dyuti Chit Pratiksha Twang Mansa Vit Pinda Visarjanaya. The sage who always lives in the reality. Why it is required to live in reality? It is not good to live in falsity. What we are to realize our real nature. That is why it is important. It's a false identity. False identity is not good. The sage who always lives in the reality, that is Brahman. Brahman, awareness, consciousness. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Swarupata, has infinite bliss. the one without a second. So he knows that I alone am, and all are included in it. And he is full of bliss. He's not miserable anymore. Does not depend upon the customary considerations of place, time, etc. And what time he passed away, it doesn't bother. What time he has and where he has to leave his body, he does not bother. For giving up this mass of skin, flesh, and filth, because it is already burnt, and that is a heap of flesh, skin, and bones, etc. So we go to the next. So now what is the reality of moksha? What is moksha? Dehasya moksho na moksha. Na dandasya kamandalo. Like when we leave this body, that is not moksha. And it is not that we leave the customary behavior pattern, like a sannyasi who lives even danda kamandalu. But in reality, avidya hridaya granthi moksho yataha tataha. So when this chit jada granthi, that's this knot of consciousness and ignorance, light and shade, truth and untruth, mortality and immortality has like mingled. It is like joined up. That detachment is the detachment. Avidya hridaya granthi moksho yataha tataha. For the giving up of the body is not liberation, nor that of the staff and water bowl. But liberation consists in the destruction of the heart's knot, which is nescience. What is heart's knot? Avidya. Avidya means na vidya. We know something, but we do not know fully. This is a confusion. So when the dawn of knowledge happens, then all ignorance is removed. So that is the state. So this is real moksha, not giving up the body or giving up some notions and some practices, rather giving up the ignorance. That is real moksha. We go to the next. Kulyayam atha nadyam va shivakshetre api chatvare parnam patati chettena taroh kimnu shubhashubham. So here the example is extended. If a leaf falls in a small stream or in a river or a place consecrated to Shiva or in a crossing of roads, of what good or evil effects is that to the tree? Tree is not bothered. Either it falls in a stream or in a gutter, it doesn't bother because it is separate from the tree. Though till the other day it was one with it, but now it is separated. Therefore, the tree is not bothered where it falls, whether Shivakshetra or anywhere it lies. Patrasya pushpasya palasya nashavat dehindriya pranadhiyam vinashah naivatmanah swasya sadatmakasya anandakrutir vikshar vadasti chaishah. The destruction of the body, organs, pranas, and buddhi is like that of a leaf or flower or fruit to the tree. So all these, like example is taken from a tree, example of a tree. So patra means leaf, pushpa flower, phal fruit. Like all these are nashavat, it gets destroyed. Similarly, in this body also, body is like leaf. Senses are like flowers, and prana like fruit. Vinashaha. So the destruction of the body, organs, pranas, and buddhi is like that of a leaf or flower or fruit to a tree. It does not affect self, Atman, the reality, the embodiment of bliss, which is one's true nature, that survives like the tree. So naivatmanaha swasya sadatmakasya ananda kriter vikshar asti chaisha. So similarly, when a person attains knowledge, he is not bothered at all wherever it falls, this body falls, he is not bothered. We go to the next. Prajnana ghana iti atmalakshanam satya suchakam anudopadhikasyaiva kathayanti vinashanam. The Shrutis, by setting forth the real nature of the Atman in the words, the embodiment of knowledge, etc., which indicate its reality, speak of the destruction of the apparent limitations merely. So, like tameva viditva ati mrityumeti nanyah pantha vidyate ayana. There is no other way. This limited identity is to be shunned today, tomorrow, or after 1,000 years. Without knowing the self, there is no other way. There is no other way. Of course, there is path of devotion, there is path of knowledge, there is path of karma, there is path of raj, that means meditation. But all path lead to the same goal. That means to realize one's own self. So a devotee will say Bhagwan. A meditator, yogi, will tell it is Atman. And the Jnani will call him Brahman. These are Shabdyate. Brahman, Atman, or Bhagwan. Shabdyate, iti Shabdyate. These are only words. So in reality, what is happening? The happening is one is realizing one's own self. Call him Atman. Call him Bhagwan. Call him Brahman, whatever you want to call. So, tameva viditva ati mrityumeti. Only by knowing him means knowing the self, one can transcend death. There is no other way. And tarati shokam atmavit. The knower of self only can go across. Atmavit, the knower of self, only go across this ocean of suffering. Nobody else. Tarati shokam atmavit. Okay, so it is time up. So we'll stop here. Any question?
I had a question.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Like, how does the enlightened person look upon himself?
He looks upon himself as self, real self, or universal self. Okay. Example is given like a lamb and a lion was raised by like a lion, like a lamb, right? A lion was raised as a lamb. So when another lion came and said, "You are eating grass and you are bleating," what a shame! What a shame! Is it? So first he thinks, okay, is there any wrong thing that I'm doing? Then he drags, that the other lion drags and takes him to a water body and say, "Look, can you look?" Yes. What do you look? Your face is like my face. Yes. He understands. And then he puts a little meat and he tastes that meat. Then he realizes, oh, I am not a lamb. Then what he thinks? What do you think that he thinks?
I am a tiger.
Ah, I am a tiger or I am a lion. No more, I am a lamb. So, an aspirant, when one realizes, he knows that, oh, I am the whole universe. I am the whole ocean. I am no more that small pygmy Akshay. I am the whole universe. And the universe is in me. So how he looks at it? See, as of now, we think that I am Akshay, I am small, I am a student, I live in one place. But when one realizes, then, oh, I'm not that small. I'm the whole world. The whole world depends in me. Whole world lives in me. Whole world even exists in me. It's like this. You are sleeping, you are dreaming. In your dream, you thought you Akshay. You thought, I'm Akshay, small boy. Now your mom came and said, get up. It's time for food. And you get up. You get up. What happens? Do you think that what you experienced in your dream, that is you? Or this awakened you? What do you think?
Awaken.
So that it totally changes. The perspective is totally changes. They are changed, totally changed. He no more limited. He is no more small being. He is Bhuma, Bhumaiva Sukham. Nalpe Sukham Asti. There is no joy in being small. Why? Because Bhuma is only the source of joy. Therefore, one has to seek Bhuma. Nalpe Sukham Asti, Bhumaiva Sukham. Bhumaiva Sukham, Nalpe Sukham Asti. Bhumaiva Vijignyasitabhya. Therefore, one has to seek this Bhuma. What is the fun being a small little fry, little minnow? Rather, it is better to be universal. Right?
Yes.
Thank you. Very good question. You are so nice.
Thank you.
Hmm. Janma is okay?
Yes, Swami, she's helping a friend move tonight.
Pardon?
She's helping a friend move out of her house tonight.
Okay.
She's helping a friend.
Okay, so we'll say our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Pranam Maharaj.
Yeah, namaskar.
Pranam, ma'am.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaste. So
Namaste. So you are not small fry. Only you have to realize it, or we have to realize it. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Same.